Throughout history, empires have often utilized local rulers to manage their territories, a strategy that allowed them to extend their dominion over vast areas with diverse cultures and political structures. This approach not only facilitated the administrative burden of governing widespread lands, but also helped in maintaining the stability and continuity of local governance under imperial oversight. The use of local rulers by empires is a significant aspect of imperial administration, reflecting a pragmatic blend of power, diplomacy, and cultural assimilation. The origins of this practice can be traced back to ancient empires such as the Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great, who reigned from 559 to 530 BCE. Cyrus adopted a model of governance that incorporated local leaders into the administrative framework of his empire. By allowing these leaders to maintain their positions and authority under his overarching rule, Cyrus ensured a smoother integration of conquered peoples into the empire and minimized resistance. In terms of key decisions in employing this strategy, one notable example was the Roman Empire's approach to provincial governance. The Romans perfected a system where local elites were co-opted into the Roman administrative system, often being granted Roman citizenship and other privileges in return for their loyalty and administrative service. This not only secured Roman control, but also promoted a sense of shared identity and loyalty among the elites. The political or diplomatic context surrounding the use of local rulers often involved complex interactions between the imperial powers and the local elite. For instance, during the expansion of the British Empire in India, the British used a sophisticated policy known as subsidiary alliance. This policy involved aligning with local princely states, allowing them autonomy in domestic affairs while controlling their foreign policy and defense. This maneuver was crucial in expanding British influence with minimal military engagement. The consequences of using local rulers varied across empires and epochs. While it sometimes led to effective governance and prosperous regions, it could also result in resentment among local populations if they felt exploited or marginalized by puppet rulers controlled by foreign empires. For example, in the Mughal Empire, initially successful use of local chieftains eventually gave way to widespread rebellions as these rulers sought greater autonomy from Mughal control. The long-term impact of this imperial strategy has been profound and enduring. In many former colonies, the legacy of divided rule has continued to influence political identities and conflicts post-independence. For example, the artificial boundaries and leaders installed through colonial tactics have contributed to ongoing ethnic tensions and conflicts in regions like the Middle East and Africa. Transitioning from ancient to modern times, different empires adapted this strategy based on their specific needs and contexts. The Ottoman Empire utilized a somewhat similar yet distinctive approach known as the millet system. Under this system, religious communities were allowed to govern themselves with considerable autonomy under overall Ottoman sovereignty. This not only kept diverse groups within the empire relatively satisfied, but also allowed the Ottomans to focus their resources on other administrative issues. Another critical aspect is how these strategies evolved with changes in global political philosophy and technology. With the onset of nationalism and modern statecraft in the 19th century, reliance on local rulers began taking new forms. Empires such as Britain and India shifted towards more direct forms of control, following events like the Indian Rebellion of 1857, which underscored potential risks involved with too much autonomy granted to local rulers. Moreover, European colonial powers in Africa during Berlin Conference times explicitly formalized boundaries without regard for historical, tribal, or cultural divisions, a departure from earlier strategies involving deeper engagement with existing social structures through local intermediaries. This shift had drastic implications for post-colonial state formation, where newly independent nations had to navigate artificially imposed boundaries that did not necessarily reflect their historical or ethnic realities, an issue still pertinent today. As global empires receded after World War II and new international norms against imperialism, took root under organizations like United Nations. Former colonies faced challenges related both directly and indirectly to earlier practices concerning use or misuse of local rulers during imperial times. Reflecting on these historical dynamics helps understand how past decisions shape present circumstances, providing insights into both successes achieved through wise integration of traditional governance structures into broader imperial frameworks, as well as lasting problems arising from exploitative or ill-considered applications thereof. Empire's reliance on local rulers was thus not just an expedient solution for administrative challenges, but also a fundamental determinant shaping how global history unfolded over centuries. From early city-states, through colonial times, up until today's complex international system, where echoes of past empires continue resonating within current geopolitical configurations.